This is our best chance to find a habitable planet. We breed and raise our own crew.
Is this what humanity looks like after 1,000 years? There are quirky facts and hidden gems about the movie that even the biggest fans might not know. Let's go through this amazing movie. Tag along with us. In the film Voyagers, a group of young people are involved in an 86-year space voyage with the goal of planet colonization. These children were raised alone in a laboratory after being born on Earth to prevent them from being attached to the planet or feeling any connection to their families. They took this action since their entire life was supposed to be spent inside a spacecraft known as Humanitas. They will serve as crew members here and eventually become the ancestors of the people who settle on the new planet. In order to ensure the safety of the young crew members during their long journey, the mission planners chose to give them a drug called Blue. This medication reduces their feelings, maintains their obedience, and restricts their sexual desires. These young people, who are now glowing-skinned teenagers, live in intimate settings on the spaceship, having no idea that the drug is the reason for their calm and controlled attitude. But when Zach and Christopher, two of the young people, find out the truth about the blue drug, the plot takes a turn. A controlled environment about the Humanitas begins to fall apart, leading to clashes and changes in relationships among the young crew. This finding, along with Christopher and Zach's actions afterwards, brings confusion to the spaceship, challenging those in control and raising questions about freedom, control, and human nature. This story explores themes of control, rebellion, and the complexities of human behavior in an extraordinary setting. The director of the movie is Neil Berger, who previously directed The Illusionist and Limitless. It makes an effort to maintain a balance between serious philosophical topics and lighter emotional parts, but ultimately fails to be very entertaining or thought-provoking. The two crew members, Christopher and Zach, experience a short-term burst of excitement as their feelings and senses become more intense. As they play with electricity and run around, they begin to notice Lily Rose Depp's lovely crewmate Selah. But this newfound independence creates bad habits. Overcome with emotion, Zach touches one of the crew, Selah, inappropriately and against her will. In short, Zach's argument asks why people should obey any laws at all given that they are going to die. This highlights the main theme of the movie, which is about exploring the limits of freedom and the efforts of living without boundaries, particularly when one believes that life has a set purpose. The film provides an environment that might have been a fascinating study of these subjects, but it doesn't get very far into these problems, giving viewers a somewhat basic experience. As Voyagers goes on, it becomes evident that the film attempts to imitate the beloved tale Lord of the Flies, although with a space setting. The team is shown in the film dividing up into predicted and uninteresting groupings. The actresses' performances are lifeless and weak as one group becomes angry and suspicious of the crew's chosen leader. The storyline looks at modern-day issues such as the rise of authoritarian leaders and intolerance. Zach transforms from being careless with personal boundaries to the major villain following an unexpected event that claims the life of a team member, using the crew's anxiety about a reported alien to his advantage. He presents himself as a hero and attacks everyone who thinks differently. The audience finds it difficult to fully understand Zach's objectives or to accept his rapid rise to popularity because of the sudden shift in his personality. Zach appears in the movie as an unusually horrible guy who makes the rest of the team fear, rather than studying the richness of human nature, which can show both cruelty and sense of discipline. The movie appears to want to offer an interesting and important comment on current social challenges, but this is lacking. Also, the movie creates an atmosphere in which it could explore fascinating subjects about human nature and societal organization. But in the end, it's a pretty simple story with nothing especially interesting to say. The attempt to make a connection with modern themes comes across as forced and doesn't progress the subject matter. Recent movies about long-term space travel really are into how people handle extreme situations away from everything familiar. It's fascinating. They show us what humans might go through psychologically when they're cut off from regular life and social norms. Each movie kind of tests the human spirit, seeing how far it can stretch in the loneliness of space. Along with that, they touch on some deep moral questions. It's not just entertainment. It's like a peek into our own possible future reactions and choices in the unknown. This theme, which captures our natural curiosity about the universe and our own boundaries, is still attractive and important today. Upon watching Voyagers, you may find yourself reminded of another movie that genuinely delves into the topic at hand. This other film is unique in that it explores the idea of leading a life that is constantly in motion but never arrives at a permanent place. It begs the question, isn't this a lot like our daily lives, when we frequently go through routines with no clear end in seeing? In this aspect, Voyagers sadly drops short. The movie focuses on some areas, but regrettably, it comes off as somewhat of a lost chance. It follows a rather predictable plot that isn't simply about what will happen next. You can see every turn coming from a long distance in advance. The film is less interesting because of its predictability. Furthermore, Voyagers stop right when you think the plot is about to pick up speed and become really interesting. It's similar to receiving a rather boring appetizer and then having dinner disrupted by something slightly better. In short, actors Ty Sheridan, Lily Rose Depp, and Fionn Whitehead play adolescent astronauts on a journey to establish a distant planet in Neil Burger's science fiction thriller. Colin Farrell is another actor in the film. What begins as a planned attempt quickly turns into a complete mess. The movie follows a group of teenage astronauts as they first work to achieve a common objective before meeting unexpected challenges that put their relationship and limits to the test. The relationships between the characters, particularly those of Colin Farrell's experienced astronaut role, provide the narrative difficulty by showing how different personalities respond to high stress. For those who love complicated human drama and thrilling space adventures, this film is ideal. It challenges you to think about how individuals might act if they were shut off from the outside world and were isolated in space, depending only on one another. Would you be interested in seeing something similar? Obviously, people find it interesting to observe how people's sincere personalities are shown in such awful situations, don't you? On the other hand, the film Passengers, which shows a few similarities to Voyagers, goes further into the difficulties associated with extended spaceflight. The loneliness and ethical issues that arise from being stuck in space, distant from other people, are effectively conveyed in this movie. Imagine spending years in isolation or with only one other person, with no possibility of meeting anybody else. It is a situation that may play mess with your mind, isn't it? The characters in the story, portrayed by Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence, are on a spacecraft that is traveling to a far-off colony planet. There is a catch though. A malfunction causes Chris Pratt's character to awaken 90 years earlier than planned. He now faces a lifetime spent by himself on this spacecraft. Imagine the kind of loneliness you have, knowing that you will never see another person in your lifetime, much alone on Earth. It would undoubtedly push anyone over the edge. Voyager always stops short of being either thought-provoking or significantly entertaining. It tries to find a balance between serious philosophical issues and more funny, dramatic parts. This film highlights what occurs when youthful space travelers encounter the unknown far from Earth, pushing the boundaries to the limit. It looks deeply into human nature, freedom, and the ethics of leadership in quiet. And it's not only about space and survival. What are your thoughts on the decisions that these characters made? Did you get their problems? And honestly, how long do you think you could maintain calm on a mission like this in space? We will have a lot to talk about after watching this movie, particularly with how we deal with stress and uncertainty. And that's all about it. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up, and if you like more movie updates, subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell icon so you never miss any updates and to get notifications on time. Don't hesitate to give suggestions for our videos. See you in the next one.